I'm sitting here with Cassie Hay of the Liberators.
Thanks for having me.
Cool, awesome. Thanks for coming out. Why don't you start by just talking a little bit in your own words? Tell me about the film.
Sure. So this is a documentary about a treasure that disappeared at the end of World War II from Germany, and it was kind of lost to history for nearly 50 years until a German investigator and a New York Times reporter teamed up and they tracked it down to Whitewright, Texas, which is about an hour from where we're sitting today.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So talk a little bit about true story.
Mm-hmm. True story.
Did this come about? Where'd you get the story from?
Well, I was born in Dallas, but I grew up in Denison, Texas, which is just down the road from Whitewright. And so I had gone away to film school in New York and was home visiting, and I was sitting at the Chili's in Sherman, and someone said, "Would you hear about this Nazi treasure turned up, on Main Street?" Like, what? So that really, what a hook, right? So that piqued my interest. That was 2004, and so it took nearly 10 years of researching and trying to get the funding together, and then 2014 we finally made it happen. So I've always been fascinated by the story and really thought there was a lot that had been unexplored. So we're really thrilled that now it's out and people can watch it.
Yeah, that's great. So you mentioned you were born in Texas, grew up in Texas. What's it like to come back and film in Texas?
Oh man, it's been a real treat. It's been a great joy and surprise to me to really rediscover not only my hometown of Denison, through different eyes, but also to work with Texas filmmakers, because I have been up in New York for 14 years, just moved back kind of after I started filming this. I live in Austin, and it's an amazing community of filmmakers and film lovers in Texas, and our composers from Fort Worth, Keith Maitland, who has 2 films here and is incredible, and I'm just lucky that he lets me hang around a little bit. He, in a pinch, came through and helped even film one of our interviews. So
wow.
it's I mean, gosh, to have him help out was pretty fantastic. But really, it's just been supportive, and on top of that, being able to film and have people open up to me in Whitewright and New York and Germany, it just has kind of come full circle. So it's been a really wonderful experience.
That's great. That's great. So you talk about being from Texas, from Austin, the local film market, etc. Talk about your experience here at the festival so far, what it's like to have the film in the festival, and some of the other filmmakers you've met, and maybe the community and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Dallas International Film Festival has been fantastic. It's really such a welcoming environment, and really all about the movies, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
And we had our first screening last night, and the Q&A was incredible. I mean, the questions that we were getting, and it was just thrilling because a lot of this story unfolded in Dallas, and so people showed up that I hadn't even met before who were involved in the case. And that was really exciting because I've been working on this and researching it for so long. I thought I know there were people that I couldn't even track down, and then here they are. They showed up at the screening, so that was really exciting. And it's a really complex story. I think when I got covered in the news media, and it was funny, I was sitting in front of a whole row from the Dallas Morning News, and the Dallas Morning News covered this story in a big way. I think it was a news story, and what we really have tried to do is get everyone to tell their own story, and that was really important to us. So we wanted to talk to the family that was involved and let them speak, because I think a lot of things were written about them instead of having them say, what their experiences were or what they were thinking at the time. But it is a sensitive topic. But we also wanted the German investigator to tell his story, and it was tough because William Honan, who's the New York Times reporter, I had spoken to him in 2004 and interviewed him on the phone, but he actually passed away right before we went into production. So, that was disappointing. So we ended up using archival footage to kind of piece together his story. Okay. So that was a real challenge, but we really hope that we also highlighted, the incredible work that he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you talk about letting everybody tell their own story. You mentioned that you didn't use a narrator. So talk a little bit more about the reasoning behind that.
Yeah, because this story it is a historical documentary, so it could have had that kind of voice of God of the here's what happened and here's how you should think about it. But really, what was hugely important to us is that this issue of who owns the art, what is the morality or what is the judgment behind spoils of war, I feel like that our society's perspective on that shifts, and it's not black and white, and that's what fascinates me. It's not like, someone is pure evil, someone is pure good, and so I didn't want to be putting any judgment on that. I wanted to let everyone speak for themselves, and so I thought that would create kind of a richer soup, so to speak. So yeah, it was a really important thing that made our life really miserable for a long time, trying to find the sound bites that piece together that structure and narrative.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
How does this experience, this filmmaking process, compare to some of the other things you've worked on?
I mean, this has been one of the hardest things I've ever worked on, most gratifying and completely different, because as my day job, I work on studio projects, and I've done that for years, and so those are usually completely different beasts, and I'm just kind of a part of the machine. So yeah, this was great because it was me and the camera guy and a camera woman often, and our interview subject, and so. Just kind of like we are today, but so it was really different and also very DIY. We kind of put this together with spit and tape. So I'm the producer director, but very challenging, but very rewarding in the end.
Yeah. So similarly, I've in my research I noticed that you've been an accountant, you've been a locations person, you've been a PA, you've kind of done a bunch of different things in film.
You did do your research.
You got to. How does finally being in the director's chair, producing all that kind of stuff compare to some of the other jobs?
Yeah, when I went into filmmaking, when I decided to go to film school, I always wanted to be a director, and it's not the easiest path, so I've been kind of working my way up. But it's been great because all of those different jobs I've done actually served me well when I went out on my own. Because as a location scout, you're just ringing doorbells, cold calling. In a lot of ways, it's similar to journalism, where you're just reaching out to people you don't know, and then trying to kind of state your case and work with them. To tell a story. I mean, really, at the end of the day, that's what you're doing. And then accounting, well, hey, if you can make a budget, it doesn't hurt. And so, it is show business, not show fun. So that's not the quote. I don't know what the real quote is there, but it is. Yeah, it is show business. So at the end of the day, you gotta balance the books. So yeah, that has served me well. And when I work on these big shows, I mean, it's just this at a grander scale. So it's nice to have worn all those hats and kind of know what's going on. But yeah, it's really exciting to be directing and a lot of responsibility at the same time.
I went to school for performing arts and stuff like that, and then worked at a movie studio here around the area when I was in college, and then after college basically just started PAing and doing that kind of stuff. So I know what it's like to kind of pay your dues, and you kind of pave the way, and everything from making connections to networking and stuff like that. It really is all about who you know, and putting a resume together and building your credits and your reel and stuff like that. And I was a PA for a while, then a script supervisor, and then an assistant director, and have done some sound work, and kind of like you, just kind of bounced around from department to department, and would one day like to have my own projects and stuff. So I can't even imagine how gratifying it is to finally have your name on something, finally have your own project out there.
It is.
That'd be pretty awesome.
It is, but at the same time, then you care so much about it that you have those, when it's not quite working, it's like, oh, wait, you have so much more investment. But yeah, it's great, and it's been really exciting to me to meet especially the Dallas filmmaking community, because I also grew up doing theater in Denison, and you don't know that there are other people out there that have those same interests, and you're like, wait, you were here all along, and we have this in common. It's great. No, it's been really wonderful, and so very exciting to be here in Dallas. With the film.
The other aspect I just love that you mentioned was the DIY, the do-it-yourself stuff. It's it is so true in some of these projects, especially when you're working with a skeleton crew or a lower budget or a lower crew and stuff like that. It really is this person is double dipping and wearing this hat, wearing this hat, wearing this hat, and getting down on your knees and doing whatever it takes. From a director, from a PA, from whoever it is, kind of all hands on deck. Putting blood, sweat, and tears, putting it together.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, Sean Polero, who did our opening title sequence, and he also did additional camera work for me, and we shot a little reenactment up in Denison, and I drove up there, and I was 7 or 8 months pregnant, and we were out in the field at a cave with this, with our actor who's dressed as a World War II soldier, but it's just the cameraman, me, and this gentleman dressed as a soldier, and some joggers came by. I can't imagine what they thought was going on, because at least with a huge studio project, you're like, okay, there's a movie being made, but they must have. I don't even know what they thought was going on, but yeah, you do everything, and like carrying the tripod up the hill, but it's great, it's fun, and you're like, wait, this is what I wanted to do when I got into this, so that's been very exciting.
I find there's almost some, I don't know if you want to say love lost, but when you go from those smaller projects to the bigger studio, the bigger budget projects, you almost lose some of that, blood, sweat, and tears type of stuff. Everybody's in their own departments, everybody's real specific about don't touch this and don't touch this, and you kind of hit that level where it's everybody kind of steps back and does their own job. And for me, that's tough when I'm used to carrying this and carrying that and helping out, but then you get on a bigger project and you're just kind of standing back while everybody does their job, and it's almost hard sometimes to watch people have to bust it at their job, and you're just kind of, no, that's not my job,
if you're a hard worker and you're like, I could help you out, but it is really remarkable to me. Now I'm a little older, so I'm starting to meet fresh out of college, up and comers like wanting to get in the business, and you really, it's funny, they're like, do you have any advice? And really at the end of the day, it's like, just show up and work hard. And when I was a location scout, and I'd been doing it for 5 years, I still had to pick up cigarette butts out of the gutter and throw the pizza away at the end of the night. There's no shame in it, and you just have to do it. And and then when I did this project, I'm throwing the pizza away at the end of the night.
Yeah, it's amazing. You come this far, but you're still doing certain things.
And but that also is really gratifying, just being in filmmaking, no matter what size the project is, that even when it becomes, you're a little more removed and maybe you're in your department, what I feel like connects all of us is this, we're really making a movie. And it's funny, because I'd lost that for a while, and coming back to Texas, the first project I worked on was a low-budget film in the Dallas area, and the production designer was like, we're making a movie, and I hadn't seen that enthusiasm in so long. And I was jaded, and I thought, no, we are making a movie. It's a real gift to be able to do that in your life.
It should be fun. It's the passion that drives us,
Yeah, and it's easy to forget when you're just doing, working day in and day out. But we are pretty lucky to be able to get to do this. So.
Yeah. I used to work behind a desk, and that just drove me crazy after a couple of years. And one of the things I love about this business is every job, every project, every day is a different person, a different person you're talking to, different environment, different location, different idea. Every day is something different. So it really keeps you going.
It really, I completely agree. And even doing accounting, that sounds very dry, and it's always weird to explain doing accounting in TV. I'm like, I'm not a CPA. I don't know how to do your taxes. But then even going through receipts, which is very dry, it's like, one time I had to question someone, why are you buying all these Snickers bars? And she said, well, we melt them down. We make it look like poop.
Wow.
I was like, oh, wow.
Wouldn't imagine.
Yeah, I learned something new every day.
They use the craziest ways to make blood and poop and anything, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. And, my favorite vendor ever is called Dapper Cadaver. And their logo is a little dancing skeleton. And they do all the decomposed bodies for, like, crime shows. So if you're like, I need a half decomposed body, they'll get it to you in 2 days, which is incredible.
That is amazing.
So yeah, the magic of movies.
So what's next for you?
I think the next project I really want to work on is narratives. I love narrative and docs, and it is a story set in Dallas and Las Vegas.
Oh,
so
wow.
that's all I can really say, except I've been talking to some Fort Worth people about it. But that's what I'd really love to do. But right now, we want to just get this film out and share the story with people. And I hope they'll find it really fascinating, because I think the story is still relevant, even though the events happened a while ago. The story is still relevant today. I mean, especially if you look at Iraq and Syria, what are our, as a society, what are our thoughts about the value of artwork and who owns it. So yeah, I mean, my real hope is that we can take this all over the country and the world. And
I was going to ask you what your hopes and wishes are for the film, what your ultimate goal is for getting it out there. Yeah,
I mean, we're on the festival circuit now, and would love to see it on broadcast or even in the theaters. So that's the goal.
Awesome. Well, I wish you all the best, and hope the rest of your time here is great.
Thank you.
Hope you all the best in the future.
Thank you very much. It's been great talking to you today.
Yeah, thanks for sitting down.
Thank you.